My friend is getting married. It's a little bit of a quick marriage. He's just let me know, and I want to make him a bowl and a set of bowls to go with that for his wedding gift. Here's the problem. I am a procrastinator, and so I waited until the last possible minute to make these bowls. I have 3 days before I need to drive down to California and be at the wedding. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I'm filming this, but filming honestly isn't my priority due to my short time schedule. So bear with me and let's get this going. So I have my segmented base here for my individual bowls, and it looks great. I went ahead and cut the second ring for that, and it also looks great, but it's a little too close to the base ring there. And if I continue on this path, this bowl is just gonna end up being really tall and triangular, and I want it to be more of a shallow round bowl. So I tried to correct that by making a bigger ring for it, and that came out looking good as well. I have plenty of space over here now, but I still have the same problem, which is that it's going to come down to a really shallow point here if I want to bring it out more. So unfortunately, I think what that means is I'm going to have to ditch this base and remake a base that fits on this ring, because I really like the size of this ring, and if it has a matching base to it, then that will allow me to have a shallower, wider bowl instead of it coming down to like a really small point. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. This is something that probably could have been avoided if I really planned my bowl out, but I didn't. Not a big deal though. These aren't going to go to waste. I will just put them in storage and have them for something else. Okay, here we are. We have got our 3 bowls done. I did make some changes to the personal bowls. They're still pretty dang small, but I'm just gonna have to live with that. They're not meant to like hold anything huge or anything. They're just personal little snack bowls or whatever. I also made them very straight, as you can tell, but this base is really thick, so I'll be able to round that out. I'll be able to round that out really nicely. So it should be fine, and I made them a little taller than I thought I would like, but I still have to sand them down and stuff, so these should be good. For the main bowl, I'm definitely going for just a small salad bowl type of feel. Like I said at the beginning, this is for a newly married couple and they shouldn't need a huge salad bowl. So I just wanted to give them something that's small. They can fit in their little apartment cupboards or whatever, and they can put popcorn in it or salad or whatever they want along with their little bowls. I think this will work. A quick little tip, use rubber bands and put all of your pieces together, and then that way as you stack them you can actually tell how they look and change things up if you needed, like I needed to with these smaller bowls. But now that we've got all that done, it's time for the fun part, gluing them up. So for this glue up, we're gonna be using hose clamps. This is my preferred way to glue up bowls because hose clamps just provide a really, really good clamping pressure. You can tighten them down with a drill and just get them really nice and tight and make sure that all of your gaps are pulled tightly together. How many times did I say tight in that? Man. So starting with the bases, I'm gonna do the good old-fashioned split, which means I'm gonna take half of the base, make sure everything's cleaned out of there. There's so many little particles running around right now. I'm going to take half of the base, which would be 8 here. And then I'm going to take the other half of the base and I'll glue that up as well. And then when I can get the pipe or the hose clamp around them, I'm missing something here. I'm missing one. There it is. When I get the hose clamp around them, before I clamp them down and tighten everything up, I'm just gonna put in a couple of little spacers here in between these, like so. And what that's gonna do is just ensure that these clamp evenly. I actually should probably throw another one right here in the middle when I do this. Anyways, that's just gonna ensure that they clamp evenly, and then when I'm done, I can pull them apart, sand this middle seam flat, and then glue those together and have a perfect joint. Of course, we're using Titebond 3 to get all of this done. We're just putting a healthy dab in there, and that will start the process. And for the segmented bases, it's actually better to have a full separator in there, not these little chunks. So full base works much better. We've got our hose clamp that fits over that, and then each of these hose clamps has a bolt on the end of it that you can just tighten down with a drill. Before you like really tighten everything down, make sure your base is basically positioned how you want it. Because once you tighten this down, that glue sets real quick and it's basically immovable. So just get it kind of where you want it. That looks good to me. And pull the trigger. And you should see really good glue squeeze out coming in there. And that looks really good. Not a lot of glue squeeze out up here, but that's just fine. As long as we got all the glue squeeze out down here, I know that it's pretty even all throughout. do is when I put it through the drum sander, it's going to ensure that, you know, the drum sander has a flat reference to reference off of, so that this side will also be flat. So normally I don't do this, but I think in this case I'm just going to glue all three of these up at once. Normally I would just glue up the base to the first ring and then I would glue up the next ring to that, but I'm running out of time, so I've just got to glue all three of these up in one go. And of course my camera had to die in the middle of this glue up. Anyways, I don't have clamps to clamp this thing down at all, so I'm just using a 50-pound dumbbell and gravity to make this work. All right, we got our blanks done, and now all we have to do is turn them. This is looking really good. That came out looking really good. I think we're gonna have to fill this with glue or epoxy or something. I'm trying to go much thinner than I'm comfortable with here, and I think I'm just about there. We're at maybe a 1/4 inch, probably a little bit less. And I think that's what I'm gonna call it, because I still have to sand it and stuff, and I think that's gonna bring it down to just where I want it. But the inside's feeling really good. I think we're done. So So we ran into a problem sanding this. There was a patch of glue right here and it wasn't cured. And I poked at it and I poked it, and the thing I poked with went all the way through the bowl. So that is a hole that goes from right here to the back side of this bowl. Not a huge deal because I think I'm just gonna fill it with CA glue and then I can just sand it down. It's annoying, but it's okay. We'll get this off and fill that up and then work our way through. That was definitely a problem that I thought was gonna happen, but I was just kind of hoping it wasn't. Which probably means on the other ones we're gonna have the same problem. Again, not a huge deal, but what I might do is just drill those out and fill them with epoxy before I turn them, and then that way I won't have to worry about that. I did fill that hole up with some of these wood shavings and super glue. So it's not the most pretty thing, but I don't have time to like remake anything right now, so it's gonna have to work. For our finish, we're gonna be applying it on the lathe, and we're going to be using Bumbleshoot's wood finish, all natural wood finish. This stuff cures very nicely and even provides a nice like kind of like a film finish. It's got some tung oil and stuff in there, so it finishes just beautifully. We're going to apply a few coats of this to really give this thing some good durability. First coat, we're gonna do 3 coats. So this will dry, and then we'll come back, do another coat, come back, do another coat. I'm not gonna take you guys through all of that. We will sand in between each coat. Just a light sanding with like 1,000 grit sandpaper. And you guys will see how awesome this looks when it's done. All right, with both of these bowls done, we can now start on the big guy. And to get this thing started on the lathe, I hot glued this piece of walnut onto here so I can attach a chuck, and then I can turn the backside, turn the mortise, and turn the bowl. So I knew that the center was going to come apart on this, so I actually drilled out a hole with a Forstner bit and filled it with walnut shavings and epoxy all the way through, so it should look pretty decent. This was the best I could come up with in the time that I have. So I just put in some work on the profile here. and I came up with something I think I really like. With this inside, I kind of had this extra little lip here, and instead I was thinking of like pulling it out and making it kind of roll over into this, but I think I'm going to keep this lip flat like this and keep it hefty like that. And so I straightened this out and then made it just come up to a nice little lip. So when I sand this, it'll round over just a little bit, and I think it'll look pretty good. And I'm really starting to dig the shape now of this bowl. At first I wasn't liking it, but now I'm digging it. So let's finish up the inside and get this thing going. All right, we are sanded up to 320 inside and out, and we are ready for finish. Again, we're going to be using Bumbleshoot's all natural wood finish. It's just going to give us a really, really good finish. And this walnut's just going to look so good. Oh, it looks so good. It looks pretty good. All right, we did it. That was stressful. So to start off with the two personal bowls, these things came out looking super sweet. I'm really happy with the way they came out. They aren't a perfect match, but they're pretty dang close. I mean, this one is bigger than this one, but it's also thicker than this one. But, I mean, they're handmade. What are you gonna do? The one thing that I am really not happy with on all three of the bowls that I finished is the bases. So the segmented bases came out looking good, but not like really good. I have a long ways to go with segmented bases. I really, really need to get in some practice with that and figure out sort of just what's the best sort of way to do segmented bases. So maybe that will be one of our next videos, is deep diving into perfecting segmented bases. And then of course we finished the small salad bowl and it came out looking phenomenal. I think that I said before I wasn't going to be a fan of this shape, but I actually ended up really liking it. I think I'm not a big fan of this shape because when I've made this style of shape in the past, I have fully come out with this lip and just left a tiny little lip there on the end. And I think leaving this ridge here, it adds to it, and I think it really makes it look nice. This guy came out looking really good, again, except for the segmented base. I'm embarrassed about this. The epoxy in the bottom of it is spotty and cloudy, and it's just, it looks cheap and it looks like I'm trying to cover up a mistake, which honestly I am. So yeah, I'm a little embarrassed about it, but what can I do? This needed to get done, If I feel guilty about it still after the wedding, I'll just make them a new one. But besides that, all in all, this big bowl looks fantastic. It's a really good size, I think, for a small salad for 2 people. And I'm overall happy with it. Thanks for tuning in on this crazy fast project that I had to do. I hope that you guys learned something and that it gets you excited to get out and start making. And that's it for me. I gotta go pack. I literally have like 5 hours before I leave. So be good, be safe, be happy, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace!